everyone. I wanted to get on and talk about our routine and our schedule and just kind of go down the line of every subject and talk about how we get everything done throughout the week, which days of the week we focus on each subject, and how long it takes us to get through each subject every week. So I have my cup of coffee here. I am trying a new coffee creamer. It's from Chobani and it's the pumpkin flavored creamer. So I actually really enjoyed it. This is my first day trying it and it's really tasty. Anyways, this is my coffee for today, and I'm going to go ahead and go down the line of all the subjects and how we schedule this out and finish school for the week. So I did want to start out by saying that this has been a little bit of a struggle this year, and I think it's because I've added a couple more subjects than I'm used to. I've also made some curriculum changes, so that has been an adjustment in kind of figuring out how I want to go about reading the main text and then doing the assignments and the projects and everything. So we're just kind of getting a feel of it at first, and now I feel like we've finally kind of solidified a good routine. With all that said, let's go ahead and get started with the first subject that we start every day, and that is math. So the reason we started beginning the school day with math is because that was kind of my son's struggle subject. It wasn't even so much that he struggled with understanding the concepts, it was just that he really struggled with his attitude and he just did not want to do math. He did not enjoy math in the beginning of the school year. Partly though it was because he was slow at it, and it wasn't that he wasn't understanding it, but he was just slow at getting the answers, and I guess it was like a bit of both. Like his attitude wasn't that great, and then he was slow at it, so it was like the attitude got worse because he just didn't want to do it. It would drag, it would take so long to get math done. So we start with math. So we do dimensions, and it comes with, let me put my coffee down. It comes with both the textbook and the workbook. And then I also went ahead and got the test book as well, just so that I can test him without any of my help and see how well he knows it. Every day, our goal is to pretty much do one lesson of the textbook and then the workbook page as well for one day. Sometimes if it's just too much, we'll break it up from there. But you know, he's actually been doing so much better now that we're, I don't know, a month and a half in of school. He has improved so much with math, and now he's getting faster at it, and I'm so proud of him for not giving up. And in my part to play in it, I was very persistent in having him push through to complete his work so that he doesn't fall behind. So because of that, I feel like that helped a lot, and he now is really understanding everything so well, and he's getting faster at it. So I think the practice and the persistence has really paid off. After math every day, then we will do language arts. And language arts is a little bit more loose when it comes to the order of what we do. Sometimes we'll do spelling first, sometimes we'll do grammar. Usually we leave writing to the end because that was one of the least favorite of ours, because I had to do a lot of prep work for writing, but I did make a switch with writing. We were doing Write Shop. This is really good if you like to do a lot of creative arts and crafts kind of projects. When it comes to writing, I think it's very impressive that they were able to even incorporate a lot of that with writing. If you want to try to make writing more fun, this is a good workbook to go with. The thing that I just really didn't enjoy was that it required a lot of prep work on my part. I would have to look ahead and do a lot of reading to know, what the guided writing practice was and what each activity was, and then definitely the project at the end. I'd have to gather all the supplies and then just really know what I'm getting myself into, also instructing him. Just all in all, I think it was just too much for us. But I went ahead and switched it, and I just got this book yesterday, I think. This is actually what we used last year for first grade, and so we just went back to it, Winning with Writing. So the lesson is, if something's working for you, just stick with it. I wanted to do something a little different and hoping that it would bring out a little bit more of a love for writing, but it actually made things worse, I think. But yeah, we went back to Winning with Writing, and It's definitely just more workbookish. Underlining things, circling things, matching, and then there's plenty of opportunities for him to actually write out things, writing out sentences, and then writing out paragraphs, which he gets to later on in the year. It's a lot of variety. It's just a much more of a grab and go curriculum, and I think that's definitely what I needed, and I know it'll work out well for him too. So what we're using for grammar is the same program, Growing with Grammar. It's a workbook. You can see there's underlining, there's writing things out, the sentences, and it's just very much a workbook style curriculum. It's grab and go. It's very easy to get through, and the lessons are not long at all, so that's really nice. Then for spelling, this year we went with Memoria Press, and I think that we're enjoying it a lot. Again, it's just kind of a workbook style. I will say big difference between this and the other spelling that we had going, it was called Soaring with Spelling. A big difference is that they have a lot more spelling words. With Soaring with Spelling, it was only 8 words, and here there's 15. And then another big difference is here they have them go back and put accent marks on the vowels, and they help them to identify the vowel teams and the consonant teams and consonant blends, things like that. So I like that. Okay, that's it for language arts. But also what we do amongst this group is we do Latin. So this is also from Memoria Press. This is the student guide and the teacher's guide. And so each week we get a set of words that you'll see, like as an example, this is the set of words they have that they have to memorize, and then they practice. And then it's like a workbook. They ask them some questions, and then they do some just practice writing out the meaning of each word, so it helps them to remember the meanings of the words. So just to kind of go back and to say how long it takes us to do all of these, math is every day, Monday through Friday. We'll never take a break of that. Grammar, writing, and spelling, and Latin, all 4 of those subjects, we are able to do in 4 days, Monday through Thursday. And then on Friday, we do literature. So this is literature. This is just what's working out for us right now that we're reading Beatrix Potter. So from Memoria Press as well, we got literature guides. This is the student guide and the teacher's guide. This pretty much gives all the answer keys for all the questions. But what I really appreciate about this are the comprehension questions are my favorite. I really feel like the comprehension questions are perfect, appropriate for their age. They ask good questions that they'll actually remember the answers to. And they're just good questions, like questions that are important to the story. But I also really enjoy the vocabulary because there are a lot of words in the Beatrix Potter that are like older English and aren't really used that much. So when we go over that, will really help him to understand the story better. I also really like the language lessons that talk about what to look for in a story, like the author, illustrator, setting, characters, plots, and then he answers the questions that pertain to that story. And then I'm saying I like everything about this basically, but then I also really like the life lessons where they have to write down, what they learned from the story, which just kind of emphasizes how great these stories were because they do teach lessons and they're just so good for kids. So, and that we complete a whole lesson on Friday. So we basically replace all the other language arts subjects and just focus on literature on Fridays. Now I'm gonna get into the fun subjects, I call them, history and science. So history, this year we switched from History Quest to Curiosity Chronicles. It's one of the best changes I've ever made. I love Curiosity Chronicles. The best thing that I love is this text. They make things very engaging. The things they talk about is not just on wars, even though that is a crucial part of history and they do talk about wars. They very much talk about the cultures of the people. They talk about the geography, archaeological findings, the art that was well known in that region. And then it's not Eurocentric, but it's very inclusive of all over the world, and they connect things from different parts of the world, and the timeline of it. It's so visual. They have so many pictures throughout this book. I just really can't say enough for this book. Every Monday we read the chapter, and it is, I will say, it's pretty lengthy. My son does get kind of tired, like as we're reading, like, okay, this is a lot to read in one day. But I really like to read it all in one day because there is a lot to unpack. And so I don't want to break it up, because then I just know my son, and I know that if we read a little portion and then go on to do like more of an activity or something, he's gonna be spent from that. I'd rather just get the reading done first on Mondays and then move on to the activities. And that's not to say that we don't do any activities on Mondays, because this is what works out for us. While I'm reading, there's usually like a word search or something in the student workbook, and he will usually do those once I start to feel like he's getting a little tired of, reading, because we'll read together. It's a dialogue type of text, so I'll be the girl, he'll be the boy, and we'll take turns reading it. But when he gets tired, he'll do a word search while I'm reading, and he'll also do the map work. There's an example of the map work where he's coloring the map, and then maybe he'll like label a couple things, and that kind of gets him to be busy doing something while I'm reading. And I don't know, I find that really helps as well. So that's for Monday. Then Tuesday, we take a break from history. We focus Tuesday on science. And then, so we do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday history. So then on Wednesday, I'm just gonna skip to a future lesson. We'll do the vocabulary, which is usually matching the name of the person or place or whatever to the definition. And then we'll do comprehension questions. Usually it's about 3 to 5 questions. And then we'll also do a timeline, which we use a School Nest timeline notebook for. They give us some crucial dates here that we could write in the timeline. I usually don't write all of them. I don't have him write all of them. We'll just pick a few. That'll be all for that day. So we'll usually break up all these activities between Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday we'll do the final project. So the project is usually a hands-on project. It might be either like art, or it will be another type of like a research thing, or it'll be something crafty, like an arts and crafty type of thing, clay molding. There's so much variety when it comes to their projects. So that's what we'll focus on for Friday. Now it's pretty similar for science, except we don't do science on Mondays because of course we're doing a big chunk of history on Mondays. So we start science on Tuesdays, and we do something similar. We pull from the textbook. The textbook is a little different. It's more of like an encyclopedia. I pulled out the one for next semester. We're not on this one yet, but as an example, we'll read a couple of pages. They give a lot of good facts, a lot of great pictures and illustrations. And then what he'll do from there is, in his student workbook, he'll take notes. And so he'll write some of his favorite facts on whatever it is that we read in the textbook. Then on Wednesday, we'll take a break. Thursday, he will go to the back of the book and he will do a review sheet. There's like a true and false, there's matching the vocabulary, and then there's one sentence he has to write. And then he'll also do a glossary vocabulary word. Usually there's like 2 a week. So by the end of the year, all his glossary should be filled out. So he does that. And then finally on Friday, I guess that's the project day, and he has a page in his student workbook where he'll fill out what tools he used, the method, the outcome, and his insight, what he learned. So that is pretty much our schedule for the week. That's how we get everything done. I hope that all made sense, and it's been doable so far. That's how we kind of got into the groove of doing things, and so that's what's working out for us right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below, and I would love to answer them. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. I also just add a pinch of the Trader Joe's pumpkin spice seasoning. So is it called seasoning or is it pumpkin spice blend? I don't know. But yeah, it just has like that mix of the cinnamon and nutmeg and all those nice pumpkin flavored seasonings. So, or spices, that's what it's called. Those are their spices. Hang it. It came with these hangers. I know it's probably meant for like actual school, like public school. So I have to think of where or how I can hang this up on the wall. That would be ideal. But it comes with a sleeve at the bottom. I don't know if you could see it, but I'll back it up maybe a little bit. This sleeve at the bottom, and this is where I keep you know, all the different subjects. There's some blank ones that I can add to this. But for today's Tuesday, so I'm gonna arrange this how it needs to be. I'm just gonna put today's schedule on top. This keeps falling. We're gonna start.